free, Mr. Humphries?
I'm free, Mr. Lucas. I'm free, Captain Peacock.
I'm free.
I'm free.
I think those words, I'm free, I will never regret for as long as I live, because why knock something that has been really very good to you?
Hello, Mother.
Menswear.
You know, you should have the name of your ship on your headband. If the naval police had spotted that, you'd have got into trouble.
And they've got into worse trouble if they'd seen what was on before.
What was that?
Kiss me quick.
I grew up in Blackpool, which, of course, is a big theatrical town. My mum and dad took a boarding house, 12 and 6 a week, full board. That's what they paid, and it was holiday makers. It wasn't theatrical. In fact, I used to get very upset with my mother, but my mother said, I'm not having a load of dancers in this house because there'll be stockings hanging in the bathroom all day long. My mother was a lovely lady, but when I was at school, she thought I was absolutely ridiculous, you know, when I did the Pirates of Penzance or Aladdin or Mother Goose or something like that. I would say, are you coming to see it? And she would say, I'm certainly not. I'm not coming to watch you make a fool of yourself. And yet everybody else's mothers liked me.
He was influenced very, very strongly by the sort of shows that he saw in Blackpool as a young boy.
There were 13 live shows when I was a kid, every summer, and I went to see them all. I always thought that the theatre were full of girls with wonderful and a lot of glitter and feathers.
He's eyes and teeth, tits and feather man, and we're both showgirls at heart.
John has a good Lancashire voice. Now, Lancashire voices tend to be they have that edge to them.
It cost my mother £0.50 a week for elocution lessons to get rid of my Lancashire accent. And then I didn't work for a very long time. And it wasn't until I did a play with incorporating a Lancashire accent that I actually started working. I did a funny play called Friends and Neighbours, and it was set in the north, and I was a sort of, a daft lad that talked like that. And because it became quite easy, then I started playing daft lads.
You mind the Japs, Sammy?
Oh, yeah.
And then we had the wee dwarfs. The wee dwarfs, you mind of them, Sammy?
Oh, yeah.
David Croft gave me a role in a funny little sitcom starring Roy Kinnear.
He was in the background mugging, as they say, you know, and he was terribly funny, and all these laughs were coming in the script. And I think that the Scotch comic thought he was going terribly well.
It was all set in a sherbet dab factory. And I had a machine to look after, which was rather like a Heath Robinson machine that made sherbet dabs. And all I had to do was watch it.
You ready then, Sammy?
Right.
And Duncan McRae thought he was getting an awful lot of laughs. And he wasn't. It was me, behind him.
I should have known right away that you were Japanese. That's his little game, eh? Filling the place up again with Japanese, eh?
I'm not Japanese.
Eh? Well, prove it then, prove it.
John had quite a background of variety, where he worked with a lot of the big comics of the day, and that has to be a very good training ground.
Well, I'd been doing pantomimes, I'd been doing summer seasons. I'd worked with wonderful people like Sid James and comics, you know. A comics crutch, I think I was known as. But it wasn't really until Mr. Humphries came along that ladies with prams used to attack me in Woolworths.
I like it much better than where I was before. I was in tools, paint and hardware. You meet a much nicer class of person at Grace Brothers.
I was just about to finish a pantomime, Cinderella, at Coventry Hippodrome. And I got a letter and a script from David Croft saying, a little note saying, would you like to play Mr. Humphries in this one-off comedy playhouse?
As soon as we decided we were going to do I Being Served, I had saw a vacancy for a character like Mr. Humphries, and he took to it very quickly.
I remember seeing John and thinking, my goodness, what a wonderful piece of casting.
He was not an important character, but I knew that he was going to become important, and so he was always at the background there. And,
yeah. And the moment he walked across the floor, he got a terrific laugh.
Of course, that's one of David Croft's strengths, you see. He sees somebody that will fit the part, he casts them, and then lets them get on with it.
David went to see Bill Cotton, who was then head of Light Entertainment.
He'd seen the pilot, and I think somebody had failed to deliver a series or something of that nature. And I said, well, look, my show's all ready to go, you know. We could write the scripts in absolutely no time at all.
And he said, oh, yes. Yes, well, we'll have some of those, but get rid of the puff.
I said, well, in that case, there's no show ready.
And David, and thank you, David, said, if the puff goes, I go.
He said, well, all right, get on with it. You know.
Yes, apart from which he wasn't really a puff, just a mother's boy and a sissy.
Yes, exactly.
Ground floor perfumery, stationery and leather goods, wigs and haberdashery, kitchenware and food going up.
It's a bit of McGill postcard humour.
Mr. Humphries, leave my pussy alone.
If one could think of a good double entendre that could be taken either way, which is what it means, then if you take it in a way that you find it enormously amusing, then that's fun.
It was totally and wholly politically incorrect.
Excuse me, madam. I wonder if we could interest you in the new flexi bra. However wayward your figure, the flexi bra will cling to it and control it.
I know all about them, thank you. In fact, I wear one.
And I have the matching pants.
They're characters that people recognise. I think there's a Mr. Humphries and a Mrs. Slocum in any department store in the country.
Well, I am of the opinion that those who are nearest to retirement should leave now and not drag it out.
Don't forget your handbag, Mrs. Slocum.
Right, fairy cake.
Oh! So it's all coming out now, is it?
It is easily understandable to anybody the world over, because there is no hidden agenda in it. It is a shop. We all understand shops, and that's it.
Mr. Humphries?
Yeah?
Mrs. Slocum wants to know if she can borrow a couple of pairs of socks to stuff in her bra.
She's not going to talk to those workmen again, is she?
Stuff in the dummy.
Oh, I've got the very thing. I was saving these to take home. I was going to use them tonight.
What were you going to do with a pair of falsies?
I wear them on my knees when I'm polishing the park.
When we started I Being Served, it was originally written as a vehicle for Trevor Bannister, and John's character really took off.
We sort of had this, you know, sort of warm, cosy, comfortable relationship, with he being the senior and me being the junior.
Measurements, Mr. Lucas.
Measurements coming up, Mr. Humphries.
Quite a sort of double act, really.
Breathe out.
I am breathed out.
Why didn't you bring the 60-inch tape?
Because our stock only goes up to 42.
Have to improvise. Yeah. 42 and a pencil. Waist?
42 and a rubber.
Hips? Oh, my God. There we are. 42 and the week ending October the 5th.
Among Mr. Humphries' many foibles, one did realise that Obviously, he'd been in menswear ever since he left school, because he knew all the tricks of the trade.
Now, this is a little wrinkle worth knowing. Come over here. I don't want Peacock to see.
Like putting his knee into the sleeves of a jacket to loosen the stitches so that it would fit.
Very crafty. And you pull until you break all the stitches. If you listen, you can hear them go. There's a trick in every trade. Well, the trick in this, Mr. Lucas, is to make sure that the customer gets it home before the sleeves drop off.
And, of course, he was an adept with the tape measure, and he always breathed on the end before he took an inside leg. Oh, dear.
Hang on a minute.
What's going on?
I'm warming the end a bit.
Captain Peacock's attitude to Mr. Humphries was occasionally rather suspicious. He thought he was a good salesman, but on the personal level, he kept a wary eye behind him.
I would have been here at 8:58, but I caught my handbag in the lift.
Handbag?
Well, it's Miss Brahms, actually. She left it on the stairs. She must have been in rather a hurry. Besides, I wouldn't be seen dead with imitation crocodile. Not with these shoes, anyway.
I don't think that Mr. Humphries ever would have considered a relationship with Mrs. Slocum. I mean, she considered a relationship with him, but then she considered a relationship with anybody.
Mr. Humphries, I want you to put yourself completely in my hands.
Mrs. Slocum, if you're thinking what I think you're thinking, it's not going to be easy for you.
Just pretend you're on a camping holiday with a friend.
That wasn't the best suggestion you could make.
Here we are.
Oh, this is nice. What a lovely bedspread. Those bristles get everywhere.
Now, just try that bed. It's ever so comfy.
Oh, yeah. It's got a lot of life in it.
There's a lot of life in me as well.
He brought a lot of the pantomime ability, pantomime comedy.
Oh, yes, he did. He brought all his expertise in that world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it helped us more than it helped him, I think. You know?
Yeah.
I see you're not bothering to dress up then, Mr. Humphries.
On my way from the enchanted boardroom, I found this slipper on the stairs. I wonder whose dainty foot it'll fit.
John always came bouncing out of the lift with all sorts of incredible garments on.
Ground floor perfumery, stationery and leather goods, wigs and haberdashery, kitchenware and food going on. First floor, telephones, gents' ready-made suits.
Ask Mr. Granger if he's free to step this way.
Excuse me.
Mr. Humphries has got a very strange walk, as we all know.
Are you free, Mr. Granger?
I think John's mincing came from John, really.
John,
isn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
The moment he hung his hat on the peg and walked in, I think, yes.
I did a little stint at Austin Reed's in my youth, and there was a young fella there who worked on the cufflink counter, and he used to mince round this counter. So one day at rehearsals, I had to go from one side of the counter to the other, and I did this, really to make the cast laugh.
Oh, it was amazing. It fell about. And, of course, you see, it wasn't so noticeable when he just went round the counter, but when he said, walk this way, and off he went, it's too funny for words.
If you've got any complaints, will you get them over quickly? I've been under a lot of strain lately.
Last Thursday?
No, don't talk to me about Thursday. I thought I'd never get through the day. To start with, I got my high heels caught in the escalator. Then I had 6 pairs of Y-fronts returned with substandard openings. The coalman came round to my mother and said that he hadn't had what was due to him. Do you know, by 11 o'clock, my hand was shaking so much it was more than my job was worth to take an inside leg.
One of the most amazing things to me is the popularity that I Being Served has had in America.
The BBC said, oh, no, the Americans wouldn't understand British humour. No, they wouldn't understand. It's too fast for them.
They love the broadness of it. They love the naughtiness of it.
Daisy. Time for walkies.
Now then, here is Daisy's friend, Billy the Basset.
Very realistic, isn't it?
They absolutely adore it. They like it being a little bit, a bit tongue-in-cheek and a bit innuendo.
Now, the question is he or isn't he?
People have been asking me that for years.
A lot of people have asked me, was Mr. Humphries gay? And I don't know, it's very difficult to say.
It's such a gay colour.
You've convinced me. I'll put one aside for myself.
Well, gay is an all-encompassing word, isn't it, really? Because he was gay in every sense of the word.
We never wrote him as a fool.
No, similar to the way he walked, he was a bit, that way inclined.
Mr. Humphries, you're standing like that again.
Like what, Captain Peacock?
Like that.
Would you believe it? You know, I had 5 rolls of wallpaper under there.
He was a bit of a mother's boy. I don't say that in a derogatory sense, but being that, it made all the women like him.
You know, the bit I liked best was sitting on my mother's knee. She used to tell me stories about fairies. I think it coloured my whole life.
I should really imagine that he wasn't very much of anything. He probably led a very celibate life with his mother.
I can't see really how Mr. Humphries could upset anybody, especially a gay rights group. I wasn't a stereotype gay person because I had a navy blue pinstripe suit most of the time. I remember being in New Zealand and some gay people, bless them, they came to the club I was working at. And I said to them at the front door, I said, why me? I said, Dick Emery, who was playing Honky Tonk then, he's much worse than I am at portraying this sort of character.
Morning, sir. Oh, hello, Honky Tonks. How are you?
Why pick on me? And he said, well, you're here and Dick Emery isn't.
With Mr. Humphries, it was just camp. I mean, I'm camp. I'm camp in real life. Miss Brahms was camp, and so was Molly's character.
It was camp in the most delightful way. It was. It always seemed to me sort of motherly and homely and cosy and comfortable.
I was blowing up my air bed, and it takes puff after puff after puff.
Can I help anybody?
I don't see how he could be gay when he spent most of Grace and Favour in bed with a beautiful blonde called Fleur Bennett.
I think you're lovely.
We thought Grace and Favour would be a marvellous sort of sequel to Are You Being Served? Because they've been away we hadn't seen them for 7 years.
No, they've had 7 years off.
I think people were asking what happened to them.
I was very thrilled when it was all going to happen. I was a bit upset that it was called Grace and Favour. I think it should have been called, which it's called in America, Are You Being Served Again?
Mr. Humphries, would you hold my pussy while I alight?
Certainly, Mrs. Slocum. It's been very quiet.
Well, the vet gave me a tranquilizer for her.
Just give it a mocky don.
I didn't think it worked at all. I just feel you can't just take that group because it's a successful formula and just move it somewhere else.
We actually slightly lost our way with Grace and Favour because we lost our pecking order. Because no one was anyone's boss, because we'd all retired, and there was no threat. And you can't really do good comedy without a threat.
Are you free, Captain Peacock?
I shall be in a couple of shakes.
Perhaps you'd all like to sit down. We're not in the store now, are we? This is all quite informal. Are you free, Mr. Humphries?
I'm free.
The abiding memories of John in Grace and Favour was the fact that this lovely, innocent farmer's daughter had to share a bed with him.
Oh, nice pyjamas.
Thank you.
He had a girlfriend, I think, because we didn't want him to be...
Without a girlfriend?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We didn't want him to be sort of...
Thought to be a man that couldn't have a girlfriend, and so he found he was in bed with the chef, who was a lady.
The girl who slept with John Inman. Oh, dear. Oh, it's such a funny idea.
I would have thought that a very improbable line of humour.
As far as my move over to ITV is concerned, it's all a bit numb, really. I wasn't mad about Odd Man Out. I didn't... I think, in a way, I was forced to do things that I didn't want to do.
Hello, Mr. Neville.
My word, you're a big girl, aren't you?
Mr. Neville, she's from Bristol.
I thought she...
We were particularly adept at writing him as Mr. Humphries.
Yes.
And if somebody else tried to write him as Mr. Humphries in another situation, I think they had a more difficult problem because he wasn't surrounded in the environment that we set him in.
We'll shut it!
Take a letter, Mr. Jones. Ignore the telephone.
You're a model secretary. You don't leave me in a mess. I get my satisfaction sharing your success.
Take a Letter, Mr. Jones, which I did for Southern Television, I really liked.
Graham Jones, Mrs. Warner's personal secretary.
So you're the famous male secretary.
It wasn't popular, so everybody wants to see John Inman as Mr. Humphries.
Have I missed anything?
Well, there are one or two teething troubles, but I'm sure you'll soon get the gist of what we're trying to do. Show him, Mr. Hunt.
Ho, 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 little boy. Have I got a surprise for you?
Being Mr. Humphries has been an absolute joy, actually, for most of my career, I suppose, now. And everybody knows me as Mr. Humphries. I have been able to do, purely because of Mr. Humphries, I've been able to do other things.
He has another wonderful old act as a toothless old man, you know, with one tooth and a bald head, which is hardly recognisable to people who only know Mr. Humphries.
I've just been in a pub now. I was standing there. I said to the barmaid, I said, it's 3 years since I came in here. She said, well, I'm serving as fast as I can. I said, mine's a light, and she chucked a bucket of water over me.
I'd love to be thought of as a comic turn, because that's what I was brought up with.
With me little wigger-wagger in me hand, my George, I'm such a dandy. It's not my strut, nor my face, tut-tut, nor my brand-new caddy like a pimple on me nuts. Ladies and the ladies I meet when I am walking in the Strand, they'll look at me and I shout, I'm free, 'cause I'm my little wigger.
I was walking along the street with him, and this little old lady was walking towards us, and her face when she saw John, it just lit up. She was so pleased to see him, and it warmed my heart as well. I thought that's smashing, you know, to have such affection from the public, from all age groups.
There we are. Do you like those jelly fruits? They're nice, aren't you? You can have another one. There you are. You might as well have another.
Pantomime is the one great love of his life.
The very first time I played Mother Goose, I think I was about 14. It's got everything. It's got dressing up, it's got pathos, sadness.
Could you make me beautiful? I'd really like to be beautiful. You couldn't. Or you wouldn't.
It's got ballet, it's got dancing. I just love it. There's every single thing you need in one show.
Are you free? That's the posh side, definitely. It is. There's a lady up there eating chips.
He's a master of his craft. He has visually incredibly funny costumes, which
get an instant laugh.
I changed my clothes roughly between 12 and 14 times each show.
He has crinolines and he can open the front like little doors and, it's amazing. He's so clever.
I visited him in the dressing room and he was taking a pair of trousers up, not for the stage, but he obviously is still very handy with a needle.
I've always been able to sew, really, but it's all down to my mother, and very useful it is too, you know. If a button drops off here and there I am with my needle.
It's time for my beauty sleep. Night-night, girls.
He's got warmth and fun. He plays his dames very much as a motherly figure. He's an absolutely wonderful pantomime dame, in the best possible traditional sense.
Hasn't it been a shocking day for Brian?
The main characteristics of Mr. Humphries is basically he's a pantomime dame in men's clothes and uses that facility for being a dame to be enormously entertaining, which he is. Charming, likeable, very entertaining and enormously professional.
I would love to have John working in Audrey's hairdressers.
Is all this really necessary?
Oh, switch him off, Mr. Lucas.
I think Audrey would fall in love with him and they could have lots of gossips and chat. I think he'd probably put Audrey in her place, but in a kindly way, in a loving way. I certainly would have John in my hairdressers anytime he's free.
He's a good lad, Mr. Humphries. He's been very good to me. I owe an awful lot. I don't know how it all happened, and I don't know why, but it did.
I think on the whole, John is an entertainer. In the best possible sense of the word.
An entertainer suits me nicely.